Emma Parker arrived on campus with 2 suitcases and a heart full of worry. The trees were tall, the buildings were red brick, and the air felt new. She looked at a map, turned it upside down, and laughed at herself. It was her first week of college, and everything felt too big for one small person. Emma came from a small town. In high school she knew everyone. Now she knew no one. She wanted to be brave, but her hands shook when she met new people. She told herself a simple rule: take one small step each day. Her first small step was to visit the library. It was quiet and bright. Sunlight fell across rows of books like gold lines on the floor. Emma chose a table by a window and opened her notebook. She wrote, "Day 1, I am here. I can try." A voice asked, "Is this seat taken?" Emma looked up. A tall boy with kind eyes stood there. He wore a faded gray hoodie and carried a stack of books. His smile was easy and warm. "No, it's free," Emma said. "I'm Liam," he said, setting down his books. "I always sit near the window. The light helps me think." "I'm Emma," she said. "I like the light too." They studied in silence for a while. Emma kept glancing at the same page. Her thoughts were loud. What if I fail? What if I do not belong here? She felt her throat grow tight. Liam noticed. "First week?" he asked. "Yes." She gave a small smile. "I am trying to be brave, but I feel lost." He nodded. "Same. My dorm is a maze. I got locked out twice already." Emma laughed. The sound surprised her. It felt good to laugh with someone. The fear in her chest loosened a little. They talked about classes. Emma liked literature and writing. Liam liked biology and long walks. He ran in the mornings and watched the sky change color. Emma did not run, but she liked the idea of watching the sky. That night, Emma joined a welcome event in the student center. Music played, and people moved like a bright river across the room. Emma stood by the snack table, holding a cup of lemonade. She told herself to say one hello. "Hey, Emma." Liam was there again, with the same calm smile. "Want to sit?" They found a quiet corner. Liam told a funny story about a frog in his high school lab. Emma shared how she once entered a poem contest by mistake and won a small prize. Liam's eyes lit up. "You write poems?" "Sometimes," Emma said, shy again. "I write when I feel too much." "College will give you a lot to feel," he said. "Maybe you'll write a book." The idea was too big. Emma tucked it away like a seed. On Sunday, Emma walked to the campus lake. The water was still, and ducks floated like boats. She sat on a bench and wrote in her notebook. She wrote about her town, her mother's warm bread, and her father's laugh. She wrote about the way she felt small and brave at the same time. When she looked up, Liam was jogging by the path. He waved and jogged over, breathing hard but smiling. "You found my favorite spot," he said. "I come here to think." "What do you think about?" Emma asked. "About who I want to be," he said. "About being the first in my family to go to college. It feels heavy, but good." Emma nodded. "I know that feeling. I want to make my family proud." Liam stretched and checked his watch. "I should finish my run. But I'm glad we met. If you ever need help finding a building, text me." He typed his number into her phone with a quick grin. When he left, Emma looked at his name on her screen. She felt the seed inside her move. It was very small, but it was alive. That night, Emma lay in her dorm bed and watched the moon through the blind. She thought about the week. She had taken small steps. She had found the library. She had laughed. She had met Liam. She wrote one last line before sleep. Day 7, I am still here. I can keep trying. And maybe, just maybe, something beautiful is starting. By the second week, class schedules felt less like a storm and more like a map. Emma found her favorite seat in Literature 101, third row, near the aisle. The professor had a soft voice and bright eyes. She said stories could be bridges we walk across to meet each other. On Monday, the professor announced a group project. You will form teams of 4, she said. Choose a short story, analyze it, and present your ideas in 2 weeks. Emma's chest tightened. Presenting meant speaking in front of the class. Her hands felt cold. The students moved their chairs into small circles. A girl with curly hair smiled at Emma. I'm Zoe. Want to team up? A guy in a baseball cap tipped the brim and said, I'm Marco. The fourth chair stayed empty for a moment, until Liam walked in, a little late, with wind in his hair. Is this seat free? He asked, pointing to the empty chair. Emma heard her own voice say, yes. They chose a story about a girl who learns to trust herself. Emma underlined lines that felt true. Liam drew a diagram with arrows and boxes. Zoe loved themes. Marco loved quotes. They met in the library and spread their notes across the table like a map of ideas. At the first meeting, Emma barely spoke. She listened and took careful notes. She wanted to help but felt afraid to say something wrong. After an hour, Liam asked, Emma, what do you think about the ending? Emma looked at the page. She saw the girl in the story standing alone but strong. I think the ending is quiet, she said. It is not loud, but it is brave. Liam smiled. That's a good line. Quiet but brave. Can we use that? Zoe nodded. Yes. And maybe Emma can read that part during the presentation. Emma's stomach flipped. I can try, she said. Her small step for the day was to keep trying. They met again on Thursday. This time Emma brought cookies from the dining hall. She placed them in the center of the table. Everyone reached in, and the circle felt warmer. They rehearsed parts. Zoe opened with the theme. Marco gave quotes to support it. Liam explained the diagram. Emma would close with the ending, quiet but brave. When it was Emma's turn to practice, her voice shook. The words felt heavy in her mouth. She looked at Liam. He nodded slowly, like a drummer keeping time. She took a breath and tried again. Her voice grew steadier. After the meeting, Liam walked her to the dorm. The sky was the color of peaches. You were great, he said. I was scared, Emma admitted. Me too, Liam said. I get nervous before I run a race. My coach tells me to trust my training. For you, trust your reading. You understand the story. Let that carry you. Emma smiled. Trust my reading. I can do that. The night before the presentation, Emma could not sleep. She got up and made tea in the shared kitchen. Steam curled above the cup. She practiced her lines in a whisper. The words began to feel like hers. The next day, Emma wore a simple blue dress. She held her note cards and tried to breathe from her belly. When their group stood before the class, the room fell quiet. Zoe spoke well, and Marco's quotes landed like stones on solid ground. Liam's diagram made the room nod. Then it was Emma's turn. She looked at the back wall, then at the professor, then at Liam. He gave that steady nod. Emma spoke. Her voice shook on the first sentence, then softened and found a rhythm. She told the class that the story ended in a small way, but that the quiet was full of strength. She said sometimes we do not need big words to be brave. We just need honest ones. When she finished, the class clapped. Emma felt light, like a window had opened in her chest. After class, the professor said, "Your closing was beautiful, Emma. Thank you for your care." In the hallway, Zoe hugged her. Marco said, "MVP." Liam smiled and said only, "Told you." Emma walked to the lake and sat on the same bench. She wrote in her notebook, "Today I spoke, and the world did not break. Quiet can be brave. I can be brave too." She added a small heart in the margin without thinking. When she saw it, she blushed and closed the notebook with a laugh. Midterms arrived like a fast train. The library filled with tired faces and cold coffee. Emma studied until words swam on the page. She missed home, but she kept going. Her small steps were now a habit. Some days she took big steps without noticing, like speaking up in class. She began to feel like she belonged. One gray afternoon, Emma walked to the science building to drop off a book for Liam. He had left his biology text at the dining hall the night before, and she had picked it up. The hallway smelled like metal and rain. She heard voices from a study room and paused. Through the glass, she saw Liam sitting with a girl. The girl was tall and pretty, with a bright red scarf. They sat close and laughed at something on a laptop. The girl touched Liam's arm, and he did not move away. Emma's chest went cold. She told herself it was none of her business. She told herself they were friends, or lab partners, or anything simple. But another part of her whispered that she had been foolish to feel so much. She left the book with the receptionist and walked out into the light rain. The drops felt sharp on her skin. She wanted to cry, but she was not sure why. She and Liam were not a couple. They were classmates and friends. Still, the small seed inside her hurt. That night Liam texted, "Thank you for rescuing my book. I owe you." Emma stared at the screen and did not answer. Her words felt stuck like stones. Days passed. Emma kept her routine. She went to class, studied, and wrote. She avoided the lake. She sat far from the window in the library. When Liam entered the room, she looked down. He waved sometimes, puzzled. Emma felt childish, but she could not help it. Zoe noticed. "Are you okay?" she asked. "I'm fine," Emma said, but her eyes told the truth. On Friday, the literature professor assigned a short reflection. Write about a time a story helped you see a person more clearly. Emma thought of the girl in the red scarf. She thought of her own fear. She wrote, "When I do not know the full story, I fill the empty space with worry. Stories teach me to wait, to ask, to listen." She read the piece to the class. Her voice was soft but steady. When she sat down, she saw Liam watching her with concern. After class, Liam caught up with her on the steps. "Emma, did I do something?" She wanted to say no. She wanted to wave it away. But her quiet bravery had grown. She took a breath. I saw you with a girl in the science building, Emma said. I thought maybe I was silly to think we were close. Liam blinked, then laughed with relief. Oh no, Emma, that's my cousin, Kara. She's visiting the campus. She wants to apply here next year. I was showing her the labs. Emma felt heat rush to her cheeks. Your cousin? Yes, he said. She and I grew up like siblings. I should have told you she was visiting. I'm sorry. Emma let out a breath she had held for days. The sky seemed brighter. I'm sorry too, she said. I did not ask. I just worried. We both learned something, Liam said gently. When we do not know, we ask. They walked to the lake together. The water had small ripples from the wind. Emma told Liam about her reflection piece. He listened as if every word mattered. When she finished, he said, I like how you write. Your words are simple and clear, but they carry weight. Emma looked at him and felt the seed inside her open a little more. Thank you, she said. They sat on the bench, close but not touching. The ducks made low sounds like quiet drums. Emma thought of the future and felt less afraid. That night, she wrote, Today I learned to ask before I worry. Trust is also a small step. I can take it. Then, almost without thinking, she added, I like Liam. She stared at the words. They were true. They were simple. They did not scare her anymore. Spring brought soft air and green grass. The campus put up posters for the open mic night. There would be music, poems, and stories. Students could share anything they had made. Zoe begged Emma to read a poem. Emma said no at first, then maybe, then yes. She wrote a piece called Small Steps. It was about coming to college with fear, about finding a friend, about learning to speak. It was not a love poem, but love lived under the words like a warm current. She did not say Liam's name, but she thought of him while she wrote. The night of the event, string lights hung across the courtyard. A small stage stood under a big tree. People sat on blankets and chairs. The air smelled like popcorn and rain. Emma felt her heart beating fast. Liam found her near the sign-up table. You're really doing it? He asked, proud. I think so, she said, laughing at her own fear. You'll be great. Remember, trust your reading, he said. The show began with a band. Then came a comedian who made everyone laugh, then a dancer who moved like a wave. Emma's name was called. She walked to the microphone with her paper shaking in her hand. She began, and the words carried her. She spoke about small steps, about quiet bravery, about learning to listen before making a story in her head. People listened closely. Night birds sang in the trees. When she read the last line, I came here afraid, but I am leaving this stage a little less so, the crowd clapped and cheered. Emma looked at Liam. His eyes were bright. He stood up and clapped above his head so she could see him. For a moment, it felt like the whole campus was a friend. After the show, Liam handed her a small paper cup of warm cocoa. For the poet, he said. Emma smiled. Thank you for believing in me. He hesitated, then spoke in a careful voice. Can I tell you something? I like you, Emma. Not just as a friend. I wanted to say it for a while. Emma's breath caught. The world seemed to pause. The string lights hummed. She felt a calm joy rise like morning light. I like you too, she said. I have for some time. They stood there, two people with simple words and open hearts. Liam took her hand. It felt right. It felt like the seed had finally become a flower. They walked to the lake under the moon. The water held the stars like a mirror. They talked about little things and big ones, favorite songs, family, hope. Emma felt safe. She felt seen. Before they said good night, Liam asked, "May I call you my girlfriend?" Emma laughed, happy and surprised by the old-fashioned word. "Yes," she said. She went to bed that night with the window open. A cool wind lifted the curtain like a soft wave. She wrote, "Tonight I read my poem. Tonight I said yes. I am not the same girl who arrived with shaking hands. I am still me, but I am braver." The last weeks of the semester moved quickly. Papers were due. Exams arrived. Emma and Liam studied together and took breaks to walk and breathe. They learned each other's rhythms. Emma liked quiet mornings. Liam liked long afternoons. They both loved the lake at sunset. One day, Emma received an email. She had won a small summer internship at a city magazine 2 hours away. She felt proud and scared at once. It was a chance to write and learn. It also meant time away from Liam. She told him under the big tree where the open mic had been. "I got the internship," she said. Liam smiled wide. "Emma, that's amazing. You worked for this. You should take it." "I want to," she said softly. "But I will miss you." "We can do distance for a few months," he said. "We can call, text, and meet on weekends. We can send each other small notes, simple words, honest words. The kind you write best." Emma laughed with relief. "Okay. We can try." Finals came and went. On the last day, they sat by the lake with their feet in the grass. The sky was orange and pink. Emma gave Liam a small notebook. On the first page she had written, "Small steps, big heart." "This is for your runs," she said. "You can write how you feel each day. You can write when you are proud or when it is hard." Liam turned the pages and smiled. "Then I have something for you too." He handed her a simple silver pen. "For your stories. For your brave words." They promised to keep learning, about school, about life, about each other. They promised to ask when they did not know. They promised to believe in small steps. On the day Emma left for the city, Liam helped carry her suitcase to the bus. The platform was busy, and the air smelled like coffee. They stood close. "I'll see you soon," Liam said. "Soon," Emma said. They hugged. It was not a long hug, but it was full of meaning. When Emma got on the bus, she looked out the window and waved. Liam waved back, both hands high, like the night he clapped for her under the lights. As the bus pulled away, Emma took out her notebook. She wrote, "I am stepping into something new again. I am still a little afraid. But I know how to take small steps. I know how to speak. I know how to love." The city rose in the distance. Emma felt ready. She was the same girl who arrived at college with worry and hope. But now she had a friend, a boyfriend, and a stronger voice. She believed in herself. She believed in quiet bravery. She believed that love grows when we tell the truth and listen. That summer, Emma would write articles about small cafes and the people who worked there. She would call Liam at night and tell him about the city lights. He would tell her about long runs and new goals. They would plan a weekend by the lake when she returned. Emma did not know every step ahead. But she did not need to. She had learned to trust the path as it appeared. She had learned that each day gives a chance to try again. She closed her notebook and watched the road. The bus hummed like a steady heart. Emma smiled. Love was not a loud song in her life. It was a clear note that held true. It was quiet, but it was brave.